All right, giddy up. Let's go. Oilers Nation every day. Boston Pizza has an intriguing offer for us, and we're going to try and make it happen. Let's get into it with the lead. All right, giddy up. Welcome into Oilers Nation every day. Not quite a game day edition of the show. Tomorrow is a short for Giant game day edition of the show. But as always, we are live from the Sports Closet studio. We are 24 plus 8 is 32 hours away from puck drop, Liam.
Unless it gets rescheduled.
I feel like they might just they might play it tonight.
Hey, maybe.
League's going to come on and be like, hey, listen, game one's tonight.
Sorry, boys. Hope you're ready. Fans, apologies.
Yeah. If you're not caught up on that joke, Mark Spector of Sportsnet.ca sending out a report that game 2 may be moved from Friday night to Saturday night. Why? No one knows.
Who knows?
They're kind of just going on the fly here. But like the Oilers series also isn't the only one. Leafs, Panthers still don't know when their game 3 is. It's a mess. A lot of you speculating, maybe this is the Oilers saying, put the game on Saturday because Shania Twain's playing on Friday and we don't want to miss a watch party. Shania Twain plays on Saturday as well.
Yeah.
The only thing I can think of is the Oilers are worried about the tight turnaround from the Shania Twain concert Saturday night to their home game being Sunday. Got to get the stage taken down. You got to get the ice put in, morning skates, all that stuff.
It is a process to take it down, to be fair to them. But I find it confusing that they're now moving the game in Vegas rather than just moving the game in Edmonton to Monday.
That would make the most sense.
That would make
Put the Oilers game on Monday and Wednesday instead of Sunday and Tuesday, and your problem's probably solved without disrupting the Vegas thing. As someone who has flights and tickets and hotels booked in Vegas, I'm supposed to fly back Saturday. I would be rather irritated if this is going to stand in the way of me attending game 2 down in Vegas. We'll talk about that. We're going to get into a lot of stuff today. Again, live on the Oilers Nation YouTube with Oilers Nation every day. Trevor Kirk was in with the first comment of the day, and he just simply said, let's go Oilers. Anna Manella, 32 and a half more hours till game time, but who is counting? Greg says Oilers in 6. They have a more rounded weapon arsenal than Vegas. Close it out at home. Chris Walkling says an Oilers game day cannot come fast enough. Braden says my gritty video is the reason Stu's stick broke. I doubt it, but I can see how you made that connection.
You never know.
Yeah.
I have a lofty like goal today, Tyler, before we get too deep. This is a big one, so we need to get it out early. 200 likes today.
Yeah.
That is my goal. We're in round 2. We need 200.
All right.
Good luck, everybody. We're at 27 with 162 watching.
Also, speaking of light goals, our friends at Boston Pizza just out of the blue today, shout out to Boston Pizza and their new Fanalytics menu, fired this our way. 5,000 likes on this post, and we will rename our Ice District location from Boston Pizza to Costin Pizza in honor of our Game 6 hero, Klim Kostin.
I'm a little disappointed in ourselves, Tyler, for not coming up with this idea on our own, but I do love it. I wonder if they'll change the sign.
Okay, so I just retweeted this. At the moment, we are at 979 likes on this post. Go to my Twitter. It is my most recent retweeted post. Like this for us. I want to see. They sent this out 32 minutes ago, and again, we're closing in on 1,000. I think we just hit it. Everyone go hammer the like button on this thing. We will get it to 5K. I believe in the power of nation citizens. And then we will have Costin Pizza in downtown Edmonton, which is hilarious.
Yeah, that would be very funny. The Costin Pizza in the Moss Pit. I guess it's just outside, but still. It's a good nickname. We gotta keep the playoff vibes high, so that'd be a good one to keep alive.
So we'll be keeping tabs on how many likes this is at as we go throughout the day.
So 118 right now. 1,018, 1,023.
1,023. That's the current count. I bet you it's Mark Spector's on it too. Said get on this Twitter. So shout out to Spec for showing support. We're gonna do it. I believe in us. 1,037, Liam. Let's go. Costin Pizza.
Rusty retweeted it. Come on, people.
Yeah. The captain is in and says he's coming into town for possibly games 3 and 4. I absolutely love to see that. We're looking for 200 likes on the YouTube video as well. Our boy Original Posar is in and says, I'm in the same boat for game 5, Ty. Yeah, and that's a good point too. Like, if things keep getting bumped, it's going to push the series. I know OP has a trip planned to go down for Vegas for Game 5. We just did a draw. Someone won flights and tickets for Game 5. I don't understand why the NHL feels the need to do this. Like, there are other ways to do it that don't disrupt things as majorly as moving Game 2.
And also, if you're the Edmonton Oilers and the entertainment group, maybe have a little bit of belief that your team can get to the second round and don't book a Shania Twain concert in the middle of it.
I mean, I get it. That's hard to do, though. Like,
but you can have blackout dates to kind of like figure it out. Be like, hey, sorry, you can't do 2 on this weekend.
Yeah, but it's also like a tour is complicated. I don't agree.
I
don't think you can just black out 2 months of the calendar from concerts.
No, you don't need to black it out. But I believe Lee Bryce played on a Thursday a couple of weeks ago.
If the Oilers would have had a home ice advantage, this wouldn't have been an issue.
True.
Yeah. Right. Like, there's too many. I don't know. Someone asked what kind of pizza or what kind of toppings would be on a Costin pizza. And I was going to make the joke, but Davin said it in the chat. It's a sausage pizza. So we'll keep moving on after that. Some people say, no, the Oilers want to have their watch parties. The watch party thing doesn't matter. There's a concert Friday, a concert Saturday. They can't do the Moss Pit on either date, depending on when Game 2 is. So it doesn't make a ton of sense why they want to move this. But we do know for sure, knock on wood, that Game 1 is tomorrow night down in Vegas between the Oilers and Golden Knights. I think, so the Oilers played last Tuesday, was Game 5 against LA. They then had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. They played Saturday. They've now had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. They've played once in the last 7 days.
Yeah, it's a lot of time.
There's been the speculation our pal Connor McDavid is banged up. The Oilers had a tough 6-game physical series against the LA Kings. I actually think this time off is going to do wonders for them. I think it's good. Like, Vegas has been sitting for a while as well, and that's fine. They've been sitting for significantly longer than the Oilers as well. But I think this is a good thing, these days off.
Yeah, I think it's very beneficial, especially in the playoffs, right? Like, even Evander Kane has been banged up a little bit too, and I'm sure there's plenty of other guys like Yaremchuk too. So hopefully we'll just see like a more healthier Oilers when they come and play allegedly tomorrow night in Vegas. And yeah, like in the regular season, I think it's a lot different because you're in the groove and everything. But at this point, like, both teams have had time off. I don't think it's really an advantage or disadvantage to either team.
Yeah, totally. What do we got going on in the chat here? Guitar Maniacs with a comment about Alec Martinez. I'm going to talk about some key battlegrounds in this series coming up in just a little bit here. Curtis says, went to Sports Closet today, bought myself an Oilers hat. Love to see it. Shout out to sportscloset.ca. OP is in, says, practice yesterday. McDavid and Draisaitl still together. I think they'll get split, and Janmark will go back for 12 and 6. AB, let's flash up our line chart here from Daily Faceoff. So this is kind of how they skate. This isn't how they skated the other day because Janmark was playing. I would expect Broberg to come out of the lineup, though. Janmark's going to draw in. Now, the interesting part is if your fourth liners are Kostin, Yamo, Janmark, okay, you need a centerman down there. I really liked the McLeod, Yamo, Kostin trio. And I think I want to keep them together. I know there was some speculation about maybe someone getting a look up in the top 6, like a Kyler Yamamoto, because you want to split up the centerman. But I don't know if that's the play. I also think Nuge, Bukestad, and Hyman are a pretty good line. They scored 2 that one game. Like, I think they work pretty well.
So how are you splitting the centerman then? Sorry.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go essentially the same and just bring in Janmark?
So you're going to bring in Janmark?
Or do you put Derek Ryan as a centerman on the fourth line?
I think Derek Ryan's too slow to play center. I think he's a better winger. I think what I do, I think early in the series, you split up McDavid and Draisaitl. I think that is your break glass in case of emergency. Show the Vegas Golden Knights a look of those two split up. Listen, they got Eichel, Carlson, Stevenson down the middle.
Yeah.
Those are 3 good centermen, but none of them are Danault, none of them are Kopitar in terms of their ability to shut you down.
No.
So I think McDavid and Draisaitl alone can win whatever matchup they have.
I think so too. And I think a small wrinkle in this is also Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. You need to get him going in some way, right? I think keeping him on a wing with either McDavid and Draisaitl takes the responsibility off him of being a centerman and just going out there and trying to bang one. Didn't he score a hat trick against Vegas this season? Or did he score 2 in Vegas when they beat them? Like
I think it was 2.
Okay,
yeah.
So
I think, again, Aaron, if I could just have the visual, I need it for myself, not even for the listeners. I think what I do is my top line, I go McDavid, Hyman, Nuge again. And I have Nuge over on the wing. My second line is Draisaitl with Kane and... Oh, do you want Janmark up there? It's tough. Because, again, I like McLeod, Yamo, Costin. I think that line can be good. So if you keep them together, do you want to give Warren Fogle a shot up the lineup? You elevate him?
Yeah, he's definitely earned it.
What does Draisaitl, Kane, and Fogle look like to you?
Draisaitl, Kane... Fogel's going to go out there and try and get the puck back for them, essentially.
Yeah.
He's going to play that Yamamoto role, and he's playing with a bit more confidence. He's probably going to be able to have better chances of converting on chances, which is funny to say considering he didn't score a goal in the first round. But, yeah, maybe that. I actually really like Nuge with Dry and Kane with McDavid. I just like having that shooter up there with McDavid.
Okay. Again, we're doing this exercise on the fly. Guitar Maniac says play Dry with Kane and Fogle in all caps. So let's go with that. McDavid, Hyman, Nuge, Draisaitl with Draisaitl with Kane and Fogle. And then you're going to keep McLeod, Costin, and Yamo together, which means your spare parts on the fourth line, or third line, I guess, would be Bukestad centering Derek Ryan and Matthias Janmark. I know you're flipping guys back and forth. I don't know.
Yeah.
The point is, the reason I'm doing this exercise, and you're sitting here on YouTube watching me be generally confused by what they could do, Jay Woodcroft has some interesting decisions to make.
There's just a lot of talent on this team, and a lot of players are playing well, and you've got to put them into positions to succeed on a nightly basis. And to Woodcroft's credit, he's done a very good job of that, right?
Yep.
Like, McLeod and Fogle were 2 of the most effective players in that series against LA, and they combined for 0 goals.
Yeah.
But they had positive impacts on the game. I think they got 5 assists combined or something like that. Yep. So, yeah, like there's a lot of flexibility. But I think for game 1, the overall thing for me would be I would split up McDavid and Draisaitl for now.
Yeah, and that's what Scotty91 says in the chat too. Split up McDavid and Draisaitl until you need the nuclear option. And I'm with that too. I split them up. And I want that as kind of the curveball I can throw late in the count, to use a baseball term, right? Hit them with McDavid, Draisaitl down the middle. Try to overwhelm them. Again, Vegas is going to get last change. So if you keep McDavid and Draisaitl separate, like I can see right here, you have the Golden Knights D pairings in front of you.
Yeah.
I mean, that top 4 is really damn good. They'll always have one of Pietrangelo or Theodore on the ice, I would imagine, against McDavid and Draisaitl. But then when you're on home ice, maybe there's a chance you can get McDavid and Draisaitl together against Whitecloud and Hague a little bit, that third pairing of Vegas, who's still a good third pairing. Like they have a good D group in Vegas. I don't know if it's LA good. Maybe it is.
LA.
But it's solid.
Their best defenseman is better than every defenseman on LA.
Pietrangelo's had some really good moments this year. Theodore, I think, is up there.
I don't know if they have that. Maybe this is wrong to say, but like that Gavrikov and
Roy pairing,
like
all shut down.
Yeah, like maybe the top.
Maybe it's
pairing.
Martinez, Pietrangelo. Yeah,
but the overall, like, it's good D, but I don't think it's. I don't know. It's hard to say.
But also, I think that LA blue line benefits, and Rusty just made this point too. They benefit from the structure, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And you don't exactly have that same commitment to structure with Vegas Golden Knights and Bruce Cassidy.
That's one thing I'm very curious about in this series is how is Vegas going to attack? Like, why are they just going to go goal for goal with the Oilers? Because I got a sneaky suspicion the Oilers might run away with it if that's the case.
Well, that's the thing, right?
There's something different they're going to try and do.
We talked about how, it was frustrating that LA ran with the 1-3-1, but Edmonton eventually figured it out and grinded out. Edmonton figured out and grinded out victories. When it comes to this series against Vegas, I don't think Vegas is doing a 1-3-1 very often,
no.
Which means it's going to be on Edmonton to largely just limit their mistakes and make sure they're, to steal a phrase from my friend Lowtide, pushing the river in the right direction, right?
Yeah, and I mean, you look back at the series against Winnipeg too. The last couple of games, not so much, but they allowed 4 against Winnipeg. Yep. They allowed 5 against Winnipeg. Like, the Oilers' offense is better than what the Winnipeg Jets have to offer.
Yep.
So I think if the Oilers can find a way to get to Brossois, maybe we'll see Jonathan Quick at some point. Wouldn't that be special?
That would be something. Someone was making a comment about doesn't McDavid eat Alec Martinez alive traditionally? And I want to do some digging into the numbers there to see about that. But I have a little thing here. I got a list of 5 areas, the 5 areas that are going to define this series, Liam.
All right.
And none of them are groundbreaking. I'll say it that. Also, I'll put it that way. But number 1 for me is the power play. It's going to be Edmonton's power play. They set a record at 57% in the first round. They set a record in the regular season. This is undoubtedly, no argument can be made against it. This is a fact. The Edmonton Oilers, 2023, have the best power play in NHL history.
Yeah.
The Winnipeg Jets, Liam, they don't.
No.
They have a decent power play.
Good talent, for sure.
But they were running at a 40% clip against over a 40% clip against Vegas in round 1. Edmonton ran at 56.3% against LA. Man, if Vegas couldn't keep the Jets' power play under control in round 1, they're going to have a hell of a time keeping the Oilers' power play under control in round 2. And I look at a Vegas team that's, averaging 3.39 penalties a game. You're basically giving the Oilers a 1-0 head start every game.
Yeah, and I think one thing, if I'm remembering correctly, didn't the Oilers struggle a lot against LA on the power play in the regular season?
Yeah, it was like 12%.
And then they just found a way in the regular season to turn it up a notch and give them hell. So, yeah, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for the Oilers is just trying to continue that power play. Man, I don't think anyone's asking the Oilers to finish at a 57% rate for another series, but they can find a way to be around 35 to 40% in 5 or 6 games, 7, whatever it may be. Then, how are Vegas going to contain that at all? They're going to have to come up with something crazy, because you even look at what LA were doing in that series. It was sometimes where they were doing like heavy pressure, like really quick on top of the puck carrier. They'd like kind of sit deep and then they kind of expand a little bit too. And it's just like, I think every single time the Oilers found a way to score a goal. So yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Vegas's penalty kill, Liam, it's not like they were just bad against Vegas either. This has been a year-long issue for them, and it's only gotten worse as the year gone on. On the regular season as a whole, they were 19th in the league in PK percentage. From March 1st on, they were 28th, which means early in the year, they would have been in the top half of the league, and the play in the last month sunk them. Their penalty kill has been in shambles recently. That is area number 1. Reason number 1 why I think the Oilers can make this a quick series. Number 2 on that list, Liam. The second big battleground, it's going to be goaltending. Let's take a look at this this board here that Aaron threw together. In the regular season, yes, Laurent Brossoit was better than Stuart Skinner. In the playoffs, Laurent Brossoit better than Stuart Skinner. Career playoffs, Brossoit a little bit more experience, better than Stuart Skinner. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. Yes, Brossoit, higher end regular season when you look at these numbers. He played less than 15 games though, right? You could find a 15 game sample size from Stuart Skinner where his numbers would look that good or close to it. Skinner's now got the first playoff series under his belt. I think it was fair, and when you watched him, he didn't really look like the same Stuart Skinner we saw throughout the regular season. I think he maybe had some jitters in round 1. There was some bad luck as well with the stick breaking and things like that. Laurent Brossoit is capable of putting together a good series for this Golden Knights team. But they also bleed a lot of chances, and I'll get to that again in just a second. They bleed a lot of chances, and I don't know if Brossoit is a high-end enough caliber goalie to hold off the Oilers through in 5 straight games or 4 straight games or 5 of 7 games. I don't think he's there. And when I look at how Vegas tends to generate offense, they'll make life difficult on Stuart Skinner. They have good offensive weapons in that lineup. They play with a very fast pace. Goaltending is the one where I don't know who to give the edge to. It's probably leaning a little bit more in Vegas, but if anyone's sitting there saying it's a slam dunk, Vegas has the better goaltending, they're incorrect. It's close at least.
Yeah, I mean, you got a rookie goaltender and a goaltender in Brossoit who is essentially just becoming a starter for the first time in his career, right? So it's hard to really compare where they're both at the moment, but I do remember when Frank was on our show, it must have been right after game 1 of their series against Winnipeg, he made a comment about how people were a little unsure of what Brossoit was doing, to be honest, in that one game against Winnipeg. So he wasn't perfect by any means against him, but he managed to find 4 wins, and you could say the same about Stuart Skinner too. But I agree with what you said. I think Skinner, we haven't seen the best of him yet. We made a comment yesterday. There was no Skinner game in round 1.
Nope.
So hopefully we can just see a better Stuart Skinner and not make big errors like he did, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think there's a way, like I think what I'm trying to say is this might be the biggest factor in the series. Like if
somehow, I mean, it usually is in the playoffs, right? Like goaltending goes a long way in determining these things.
So maybe the Oilers will just have to outscore the problems on some nights, but Brossoit, I think, is capable of shutting him down for a period or two. Kind of saw that a little bit when I think it was the third game of the season when they played him, and he played really, really well. So he's not as good as Korpisalo, but he's still a good goalie.
Yeah. Bo is in and says, we broke Korpisalo, we can break Brossoit. And I kind of agree with that a little bit as well. Like Brossoit is a guy who over his careers, had consistency issues in certain stops. There's a reason why he's in year 10 of his career or something, and he's never been a bona fide number one somewhere. Like this is a guy who is playing good hockey right now, but don't be fooled, he's a career backup. And I'll be interested to see if we end up seeing a second goalie at any point in this series.
Yeah. So is Quick their current backup, or is it Logan Thompson, or is it Aiden Hill?
It's Quick, I think.
Okay, because they just got it's amazing that two teams in the Pacific Division played 4 or more goalies this season and made the playoffs. Like Vegas and the Kings both did that.
Yeah, you're right.
It's crazy.
Cal Peterson and Quick.
And we thought we had goaltending issues.
And not really. Stuart Skinner's been solid. Christopher Palmer is in and says Skinner's really good at setting his feet, coming across on his feet. Skinner in the first half, not as good as Skinner in the second half. And when you break his season down into 10-game chunks, it actually is pretty consistent. And his last 10 games were his best 10 games. So again, that's kind of why I look at the struggles against LA or the mediocre play against LA, and I kind of go, maybe it's jitters for the guy. And maybe now he knows what playoff hockey is about. You got to remember, not only is this his first appearance in an NHL playoff run, it's his first time being on the bench, right? It's not like he's got 2 years of watching Mike Smith as a backup and getting a handle for the atmosphere and seeing how things can, like how a game can kind of go, how quickly things can change. It was his first time getting that experience. So I think I maybe cut him a little bit of slack. OP is in and says there's no goaltending advantage right now. Either could be better in any game or over the course of the series. And I think that's probably a good way to sum up this topic.
Yeah, I think so too. And like you said, like he has no experience. He wasn't even one of the Black Aces last year.
No,
he was Olivier Rodrigue, who you guys met in LA. So yeah, I agree with that comment from OP too. Like I don't think either goaltender is better than the other. I think both goaltenders are capable of shutting one team down for a night too, though.
All right, number 3. We know the Oilers have an advantage in the high-end skill department, but what about the depth of this team? In round 1, the Oilers had 10 different goal scorers throughout 6 games. The Vegas Golden Knights had 8 different goal scorers over the course of 5 games. They had 5 players who found the back of the net 2 or more times. The Oilers had 7 players find the back of the net 2 or more times. It was Bukestad, Hyman, and Bouchard scored twice. Kane and McDavid and Costin all scored 3 times. Draisaitl scored 7. Stevenson and Carlson led the way for Vegas with 4 aside. Eichel had 3, so did Mark Stone. Brett Howden had 2. They came in 1 game, and that was it for the multi-goal scores. The depth of this Oilers team, and I've said this stat a number of times, at 5-on-5 with both McDavid and Draisaitl off the ice, the Oilers outscored and outshot the LA Kings. It was close, sure, but they won that battle. I think they're more than capable of winning that battle again against the Vegas Golden Knights. I know you were looking at their line combos a couple of seconds ago. Stevenson, Howden, Mark Stone is your third line. Yeah, that's really good. I would argue that's probably their second line, and Carlson, Amadio, and Smith is their third line. Nicholas Roy, I don't know which one it is.
I believe.
Yeah, okay. As their fourth line center with Colasar and Carrier, like that's a decent, like their bottom 6 is good, but I don't view it as like, again, a huge mismatch for the Oilers. It's an area where like I'd listen to an argument saying the Golden Knights maybe have a deeper team, bottom 6. The high-end skill is so clearly in the Oilers' favor, and the fact that the bottom 6 is, I think the Oilers' bottom 6 is capable of at least sawing it off against this Vegas team. Oilers get a big advantage on the forward group.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the high-end skill is obviously there for the Oilers. It's pretty much there against every single team in the NHL, at least the ones that are left. So that's kind of out of the question. But yeah, the bottom 6, I feel like it's fairly split, right? Like you said, that third line that they're showing here on Daily Faceoff is probably their second line. Out of curiosity, was there anybody on Vegas who's like one of their top guns who didn't score a goal, similar to like Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for us? I'm just wondering if there's someone who's going to maybe come out a little bit more in this series.
So Riley Smith had 15 shots, didn't find the back of the net. Nicholas Waugh had 13 shots, didn't find the score sheet once in that series. Mark Giroux had 12 shots, didn't score a goal. Pietrangelo and Martinez, neither of them found the back of the net either. Shea Theodore didn't score in that series. So yeah, there were a lot of Golden Knights who were held off the board and kind of surprisingly held off the board.
And that's the thing too. Like the Oilers guys seem to produce and be effective for most of the game. Like we said, Fogle and McLeod didn't get goals, but they were really in the mix on a lot of cases. Like McLeod was on the ice for the series-winning goal and stuff like that. So I'd be curious to see. I think there will be nights where Vegas's depth does show a little bit more than the Oilers, but I think overall, like if the Oilers are able to split up Draisaitl and McDavid on a regular basis, like the Oilers' depth should prevail. Like, there you go.
I'm with you. Up on number 4, it's the blue line, and that is probably the one area where I'd say Vegas has an advantage. You know, Edmonton's blue line had some tough moments in that series against the LA Kings, and I wonder an LA team that I think is going to forecheck harder and more aggressive than the Kings did. Sorry, a Vegas team that's going to forecheck harder and more aggressive than the Kings did. I worry about how a guy like Vinny Desharnais is going to hold up in that. I worry about how some of the slow boots, like a guy like Cody Ceci, how is he going to hold up with that extra little bit of forecheck? I'm not worried about Ekholm and Bouchard, but I wonder if we might see some struggles from the Oilers' blue line. That'll be the one area. Like, I think Darnell Nurse, a little bit of pressure on him to have a very good series, not just be passable, but like be impactful. I know it's tough because he plays with Ceci, but maybe see a bit more out of Nurse here. We need that second pairing of Bouchard and Ekholm to continue to show that they're a high-end duo. And the third pairing as well, like Brett Kulak, I'm not worried about his skating. I think he's a guy who's probably made for this series, if we're being honest. A little bit worried about Vinny Desharnais in this one, just because it's been a bit of a roller coaster ride for him so far. So I would love for them to prove me wrong. I'd love for the Oilers' blue line to be great, but I think it's a fair concern. That's the one area, as we're on the 4th key battleground of this series. That's the one area where I think you go, okay, Vegas is better there.
You think overall Vegas' defense is better than the Oilers?
The Oilers don't have a D-man as good as Pietrangelo.
Nope.
Shea Theodore is better than Darnell Nurse, right? If you want to go Pietrangelo v. Ekholm, you pick Pietrangelo. If you want to go Theodore v. Nurse, you pick Theodore. They're good. Do you disagree?
I don't know if I would rate Theodore. I don't know. Like, it's hard to say. Like, I think Nurse is underrated a little bit. Like, he does make mistakes. I'm not going to sit here and deny that by any means. But he's a guy that plays at high-end minutes for the Oilers every single night. And I think when I look at this top 4 of the Vegas Golden Knights, like, I would like the Oilers top 4 a little bit more. And I think a guy like Ben Hutton is kind of a big reason for that too. But I think this is the strength of the Golden Knights for sure. And that's a reason why they can play a goaltender like Laurent Brossoit on most nights and make him look half decent.
Yeah. Someone asked how Alec Martinez did this year against Connor McDavid. They weren't on the ice together a ton. At 5-on-5, they went head-to-head for 14 minutes and 51 seconds. The shot attempts were 16-16. The Oilers scored 1 goal in those 14 minutes. So Martinez did an okay job shutting down Connor McDavid. But again, I would also say, if Connor McDavid goes every 14 minutes and the Oilers score a goal against Martinez, you're probably getting 2 goals from that line a game, and you're not that upset about it. So I don't think it's like a massive disadvantage to have Martinez out there if you're Vegas against McDavid. I don't think it's an area that the Oilers are going to like absolutely exploit, but you know, Martinez has a lot of miles on him. He's battled some injuries, so never know.
It'll be interesting, and is that Chell Iverson put it in here? Is that Evan Bouchard is the wild card in this series?
Probably.
I'd be curious to see how good he can be again.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm expecting 8 points from him again in the series, but for me, like, he has got to be relied upon a lot. Sorry, 10 points. My apologies. 8 assists. He might be relied upon a little bit more defensively and maybe even double shifted in some cases if Desharnais isn't doing so hot. Just because he's obviously capable of skating. So we'll see on that one.
Yep. 5th up, getting off to a good start. That is going to be a big one here for the Edmonton Oilers. They scored, or they led the first period in 4 games against LA. Now I know they blew the lead and lost one of those. They won in the other 3. I think getting off to a good start is huge for this Oilers team. In the regular season, when they were leading after 1, the Oilers were 26-4-3. When they were leading after 2, 34-1-5. On the other hand, the Vegas Golden Knights also very good at playing with the lead. When they led after 1 in the regular season, they were 34-1. 30-4-1. When they led after 2, 34-1-2, Liam. That is pretty good. And in terms of an ability to come back, when the Golden Knights trailed after 1, they came back 24% of the time. When they trailed after 2, they came back 28% of the time. Compare that to the Oilers. When they trailed after 1, They actually came back 32% of the time, so a little bit higher than Vegas. But when they trailed after 2, that number goes all the way down to 22%. Not a team that was orchestrating, a wild amount of third period comebacks during the year. For the Oilers, it's going to be crucial that they get the lead early and play with the lead. Force this Vegas team to start to take some risks offensively, because I think if that happens, the snowball down the hill for the Oilers, it's going to be more offensive chances, more mistakes made by the Golden Knights, the more aggressive they try to get. Keep your own end clean. Yep. Your chances will come at the other end, but I think this all kind of starts at the top with score.
I think one thing that's interesting about the Oilers is I really don't see a cap on how many goals the Oilers can score in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Where you watch the LA Kings, and I think we all discussed it. I can't remember if it's on shows or off shows, but like, the Oilers get out to a 3-0 lead. The Kings are not coming back from that kind of deficit, right? And I feel the same with the Golden Knights. Like, are they going to be able to keep up with that offense if the Oilers are able to come out and have a great start? Like, they did numerous times in the first round, and that I agree. I think that would be a big thing for me too. And it would also take a little bit of weight off Stuart Skinner and put the weight on Laurent Brossoit, right?
So put some pressure on him.
Yeah, so I think, yes, I agree. And I do believe they will, because they did it so well in that first round. It's just about maintaining it.
And I wrote about this today at the site. You can read the full article, Oilersnation.com. The Vegas Golden Knights bled a lot of chances late in the year. And here's some stats powered by our friends at Boston Pizza and their new Fanalytics-inspired menu. The Appy Trio might be calling my name tonight, Liam.
May as well.
Just might. Here's some numbers. From March 1st on, the Vegas Golden Knights were in the bottom third of the league when it comes to shots allowed at 5-on-5, shot attempts, so shots, shot attempts, and scoring chances. They're in the bottom 5 in scoring chances allowed at 5-on-5. They bled chances. They are lucky that their goaltending was good. That's basically all it was. Their 5-on-5 team save percentage was 4th best in the NHL. Their 5-on-5 PDO, which a lot of people just say that's like your measure of luck, it'll always regress back to the mean at some point. It was the highest in the league from March 1st on. They got saves. They had a high shooting percentage. They bled a ton of chances. That's how the Vegas Golden Knights were down the stretch in the regular season. I don't think that's a team that's magically going to flip the switch and become great defensively and stop giving up all of those looks. I know I talked about how their blue line looks solid on paper, but I don't think their forward group is all that solid defensively, and I think that's a big reason why they bleed looks. The Oilers, okay, they weren't elite offensively. I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody that they were, but they were 4th in shot attempts against per 60. Very good. Top 5 in the league from March 1st on. 16th in shots against per 60 and 11th in scoring chances against per 60. Vegas, bottom of the league. Edmonton, middle of the pack, trending a hair above it. Above average, you could say. That's an advantage right there. That play at 5-on-5, the Oilers' big guns doing their thing, and the depth of this team continuing to play good hockey. That's going to be probably the biggest one for me. That's how the Oilers will make this a good series. If they're scoring on their chances and Vegas is going to give you 35 shots a game and 20 looks from a high danger area, the Oilers score on their looks, they'll bury them. I know it sounds like obvious, but like the writing is there. The script is there for this series to be a quick one.
There is definitely a lot of analytics in that statement, Tyler.
Thank you. I rattled off a lot of numbers there.
What I would say is, didn't that kind of happen when the Oilers played them last in Vegas and they put 8 by them? Felt like every single time the Oilers came down the ice was like a high danger chance and they were able to capitalize. Like, Vegas has had this mistake happen to them already, and I think we will see that in this series at some point, I believe. And again, it's going to be the biggest thing is, how is the Oilers offense going to capitalize on the chances if Vegas are going to give them these opportunities, right? Like we spoke about the blue line, and it's good, but there's holes for sure, and you can get through them. And I think the Oilers offense will be the reason they come out on top in this series.
Taking a look at the Twitter, Boston Pizza.
Oh, yeah.
The tweet is at 2,400 likes. We are almost halfway there to having the Boston Pizza in Ice District renamed to Costin Pizza. If you missed it, the official Boston Pizza sent us a note and said if we can get 5K likes on the tweet, and maybe we'll put it in the description of today's episode as well. If we can get 5K likes on this tweet, we will rename the Ice District location to Costin Pizza. We are at 2433 right now, so keep hammering that. Keep hammering that. We're going in a good direction here, people. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, hit the like button on the YouTube stream as well. There you go. Shout out to Boston Pizza. Playoffs at BP's, powered by Fanalytics. All right, let's keep moving along here on the show, Liam. I am going to be hitting the road tomorrow with our friends at AMA Travel, heading down to Las Vegas. Very excited to watch the Oilers in person. Who knows when game 2 is going to be, but game 1 is tomorrow night. Let's look at the out-of-town scoreboard, powered by AMA Travel. Last night, game 7 between the Rangers and Devils. It was honestly a bit of a dud. Yeah. Devils win the series 4-3, as you can see here. A lot of those big names on the Rangers were quiet. One for Zibanejad, one for Kane. Panarin was nowhere to be seen and largely looked disinterested in this series. Game 7 didn't produce a lot in terms of excitement, but it did give us quite the controversy surrounding a hit from Jacob Trouba.
Yeah, I mean, we got it up here, but we all saw it, right? Like, what a hit by Trouba. But I think a lot of people are just questioning the legality of it, I suppose. But for me, like, what is Trouba supposed to do in that situation? Just let him skate by? Like, I get it, like, his head's down and everything, but for me, there was no targeting. Like, that is if he had kept his head up, that would have been a straight hit to the chest. No, I know he didn't, and that's like a hypothetical. But it's like, what is Trouba supposed to do? Just trip him, give up the penalty?
Yeah, like, for me, I'm torn. Is this a hit on a defenseless player?
I don't think so.
Or is this a clean check? And I don't think it's defenseless because, like, there are times like the Pavelski one. Pavelski's kind of being edged by another guy on the team and brought around, and he doesn't see Dumba coming, and the puck's now off his stick, and then Dumba smokes him. That's hitting a defenseless player. This one is, he put himself in a really bad spot here.
I think it is a brutal hit. Like, that is a crushing blow. But for me, Trouba did almost nothing wrong.
Led with his shoulder, didn't leave his feet. Let's look at the Bouchard one, because to me, this Bouchard one, and I'm saying this just because Aaron has it flashed up, this is hitting a defenseless player.
This is 100% hitting a defensive player, because Kempe had other options. He did not have to do that to Bouchard.
Yep.
And there's also the other one too, the Jordan Eberle one on Andrew Cogliano. And none of these plays resulted in suspensions. The Cale Makar one did, which I think out of the 4 of them, it's probably the safest one in the game, to be honest. Obviously resulted in an injury, which isn't good. But like, you have this one. There's no, Kempe has options. Eberle had options. For me, with the Trouba one, I just don't see.
He either hits him or he lets him go by him.
Exactly. He either hits him or he trips him and takes a penalty. When you're already in a game like this, what is that? Is it the third period or the second period? I think it was the third, right? Like, it is a nasty blow, and you don't want to see that every single day.
I can't believe concussion protocol didn't take him out.
Yeah,
that didn't make sense to me.
But it's what Trouba does, and I think Trouba is a great hitter. He knows how to hit correctly.
Yeah.
He did not go out of his way to target Timo Meier's head. He didn't leave his feet.
His feet only really leave the ground when he connects, right? And the momentum throws him off.
So for me, I think this one's fine. I think the NHL actually needs to take more of a look at these cross checks from behind, which probably literally resulting in plays like Cogliano breaking their necks.
Yeah.
It's not good. I'm curious, what are people saying in here? Like, people kind of split decision, it looked like to me.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I'm going to write about this today.
There you go. Liam will have a piece up at Oilersnation.com. Game 7 wrapped up yesterday, so we move on to round 2 tonight on the AMA Travel out-of-town scoreboard. We have the Leafs taking on the Panthers in Game 1. Matt Tkachuk says the Leafs are the best team remaining in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He says he's excited to try to take them down. The other game tonight, Seattle versus Dallas. That series gets going down in the Big D. Betway betting-wise, Liam, looking at the lines here, I think I like the over in Toronto, Florida. I don't know if I'm picking a side. I think early in the series, it's a little too unpredictable to do that. Maybe that should lead me to be betting on the Panthers to just steal a random one here. But I think the Leafs will be buzzing. I think we'll get a lot of offense, though, is my point.
I think our whole series will be the over series for sure. And then the other series going on tonight might be the under series, to be honest. You might have the 2 best goaltenders in the playoffs playing against each other at the moment. And the Seattle one, I don't want to rule them out at all, because I had thought they had no chance against Colorado. I think we gave Florida a little bit of a chance against Boston, so I don't want to rule them out in that series. I think they could actually take that in 6. But Seattle, I think it might go 7 for Seattle. Call me crazy. I think that's what might happen.
No, I think I had that one going deep too on my predictions on DFO. I had Leafs Panthers going deep as well. Honestly, the only series that I have being short is Edmonton Vegas. And listen, I didn't have a lot of people were saying Oilers sweep, Oilers in 5 against LA. I wasn't buying it. I said Oilers in 6, and I would not have been surprised if that series went 7. Oilers Vegas, I will honestly be surprised if Vegas takes them 7. I don't think they have the horses. It's as simple as that.
It reminds me a lot of the Calgary series last year, where goals will just be what it is.
Yeah.
They'll just score a ton of goals, and much like what happened last year, the Oilers scored way more than what Calgary were able to do, and I think that's what we could see again with Vegas.
Ray-Ban Man says, once Trouba commits to the big hit, he left himself no options. He had an option before to not go after the big hit. He could have easily directed Meyer to the boards. I don't know.
I don't think
I think he's coming through the middle of the ice.
Yeah.
But and again, that's Timo Meyer. If you want to just try push him wide, he's a big boy. He'll walk around you.
Could you start the one again, Aaron? Are we able to put no, what? I disagree, because what is Trouba is then putting himself in a bad spot defensively if he then steps to the right and guides him to the boards. No, that is the play that Trouba had to make. It's a bad hit in a way that it ended, but in the moment, I think that's the correct play, and it's just unfortunate what happened.
Again, this is nothing new for Jacob Trouba. He's crossed the line a few times. I don't think this is one. And I think if you're Timo Meyer, again, you lean down going over the middle of the ice. If you stand upright with your head on a swivel, you see Trouba coming, you throw the puck into the corner and you don't get hit.
Yeah.
Or you cut into the other side and try to walk around. I think that's Braden Schneider or Nico Mikkola there. So you go the other way. You should know.
Yeah. I mean, the Rangers lost anyway. So
so I guess it doesn't matter.
The better end of it all.
Aaron says Meyer had to keep his head up, never skate over the blue line with your head down. That's hockey 101. Don't do stuff like that, or you'll get hurt.
True.
One last thing for Betway. Rupe Hintz is minus 160 to pick up a point tonight. He averaged 2 a game in round 1. Minus 160 is not a great payout, Liam.
No,
but that's worth just hitting up.
Yeah, for a guy that's scoring so consistently, you may as well dabble a couple of bucks on it. Just bet responsibly. That's all I would say. Bet
responsibly. 19 plus over at Betway. Got some exciting stuff coming up in the next little bit with our friends at Betway as the Oilers keep cruising along in the playoffs. You like that?
I love the emotions.
Thank you. I'm going to check in on how many likes we have over on the Twitter thing.
We have a 138 on this stream.
Hit like on YouTube, please. There's 250 some of you. We should be able to just juice this up a little bit more, get closer to 200 today. Let's get the algorithm going. 2,800 on the cost and pizza. Going in the right direction. We will have more on this when we do Oilers Nation Radio later on this afternoon as well. Michael Teixeira's in. Clean hit, big boy, playoff hockey. Chell says cost and pizza, LFG. Tyson says he's looking down at the puck. Keep your head up. Mark says don't think there was an option for Trouba. I think a lot of people are kind of in agreement on this one here, like Guitar Maniacs. Meyer made himself vulnerable. He wasn't in a vulnerable spot. He put himself there.
And that's the thing, too. Tyson put in the chat here, when Holloway got hit earlier in the season from the Fogo pass. I was thinking that, too. It's not like he's a player putting him there and he's, searching for the puck. Meyer was skating around with his head down. And it's just, it's simple hockey. And, again, unfortunate what happened. But you can't expect Trouba to, in that moment, Trouba's thinking, how am I going to stop him? He's not thinking, what if I hit him in the head? You know?
100%. All right, we're going to wrap this up. Aaron, do you want to go get the cooler for me? Put us on full screen and go run and get that cooler. Also, we're going to get to 3K on this Boston Pizza challenge by the end of the show. But we got our Budweiser cooler question brought to you by our friends at Greta and Labatt Canada. Our watch parties are filling up.
Giddy
up.
It was awesome on Saturday.
There you go. Get me a cold one, Aaron.
The Budweiser train is coming in.
Mm-hmm. What do we got in there? Is there found it. All right. Liam, this question is kind of aimed at you, actually. You had beef with Alex Iafallo last round.
Yeah, I have a lot of beef with him.
So pull up the Golden Knights depth chart.
Do I have to pick an enemy?
Pick an enemy for this series against Vegas. Who is going to do the best job at getting under the Oilers' skin in this series? Shout out to our friends at Bud Light, Budweiser, and Labatt Canada, and Greta.
See, this one, I've actually been thinking about this, and I kept referring to Jonathan Marchessault for some reason, but I actually respect him a little bit too much for his journey to the NHL. I don't think I can do that to him. I think it might be Keegan Kolesar.
Really?
I think he's going to do something. When I remember when we were in Vegas and he scored that shitty goal where he shot it from behind the net. I just stuff like that. And I guess we'll find out, but I think he might be able to. I honestly think Mark Stone might be in that group because I am not happy that he is playing in this series.
Mark Stone will be in the mix there for sure. I wonder about maybe Ivan Barbashev, but he kind of gets disinterested at times, so maybe not.
Actually, it might be Eichel.
Eichel's easy to hate.
Yeah.
Public enemy number one.
Angry kid.
It's Jack Eichel.
Yeah.
Oilers fans are going to boo him the way they booed Doughty. What about the blue line? Anyone on the blue line there? Can you scroll down?
Not really. Like Martinez and Petrangelo, two very respected players. Shea Theodore's just good.
Brett Howden might be a bit of a rat.
Yeah.
Rusty says, and I agree with him, Vegas is definitely less ratty than LA.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, do his what, 20 rats on LA?
But we also haven't played them in a playoff series before. So that might change.
That's true.
It is wild. This is the first time we're going head-to-head with Vegas in a playoff series.
Yeah, that's right, because they missed last season because they sucked.
Shout out to Bud Light, Labatt Canada. Go to Greta for the watch party, gretabar.com to make your reservations. They are filling up game 1 tomorrow. You'll want to be downtown. You want to be partying hard with our boy Aaron at our Oilers Nation watch party. Shout out to Greta. A lot of people. Yeah, Michael says it's going to be Stone. Joey says it's going to be Eichel. Yeah, we'll see. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to kind of watch the rivalry develop here in this series.
I feel like we have that small rivalry with Vegas, but
a little bit.
I get up for it because Vegas is a good team, not because I hate them.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. All right, 2 game 1s tonight, and then tomorrow it is a Sherwood Ford Giant Game Day edition of the show, live on the road from Vegas. We are not going to be live at our usual time. We're going to be going live a little bit later, closer to the afternoon, evening. I think I'm kind of aiming for like a 3:30 Mountain Time start for the show tomorrow. So if you come here at noon, you will not see us. But you'll see us a little bit later on because, again, we'll be setting up the studio down at Vegas, taking the Sports Closet studio on the road, powered by our friends at AMA Travel. If you want to have if you want to do a fun little exercise, amatravel.ca/dream. They have a little quiz you can fill out, and then it like spits out some pre-planned vacation options for you. Very neat stuff.
That is very convenient.
Yeah, you should do it when we're done the show, Liam.
It comes up with Drumheller. I can't.
Shout out to AMA Travel. Also, Star Mechanical sponsored the guest line. Frank Ciravali was around yesterday on that bad boy. Boston Pizza, their Fanalytics menu. Our friends at Labatt Canada. Betway 19 plus, play responsibly. And Greta, where again we'll be partying hard on a Wednesday night because it's the playoffs, and that's what you do. Thanks for tuning into the show today, everybody. Hit the like button before you go. Let's rename Boston Pizza Costin Pizza. I have covered everything. We'll chat tomorrow.